All right, we are going to get started with a little watercolor tutorial. So here is a very simple piece of artwork. Just did this for this exercise. And so I have my watercolors here. They're ready to go. When you set yourself up, you want to set yourself up so that everything is within your reach. I am right-handed, so I like to keep my water by my right hand. Okay, that makes sense, right? I don't want to be reaching way over my paper to dip my paintbrush in my water. I might get some drops on my paper if I do that. So when I get started, I actually just get my brush wet. I never smash it on the bottom. I always treat my brush really gently. These are really good watercolor brushes. As you can see, they're nice and pointy at the tip, and they just work really well for watercolor. So I gently swish my water around, and then I'm actually just going to drop, if you can see this, I'm going to drop little droplets of water, like rain, into the colors. And what that's going to do is it's going to wake those colors up, and it's going to get them nice and watery for us. Okay, I don't really plan on using brown or black today, so that's pretty good. Okay, so my colors are getting nice and wet, and they are ready to go. When I choose a color, I always paint the background first of any kind of artwork. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna choose blue, swish my paintbrush around. We swirl, okay, and then we swipe. Okay, notice how I'm getting all the excess water off on the side of my water cup, okay? We don't really need that much water. Let's see what this looks like. Okay, that's looking pretty good. I swirl my brush. I never smash my brush down. That'll make all of the hairs go crazy, and we don't want to do that to our brushes. Remember, we want to be gentle. Now watch what happens as I keep going over here. What's happening to the color on my brush? I see students try to work with this kind of watercolor all the time. And what do you think I might tell them? What do they need to add? That's right, maybe more water. So I dip, swirl, swipe. Let's see if that does the trick. And it does. All I needed to do was add some more water. Try it again. You don't always need to dip right back into the watercolor. Sometimes all you need is some more water. You always want to be careful by the edges. Your paint is going to go wherever your brush goes, so we always need to be careful by those edges. Okay, so I would continue to do this for my whole entire background. That's looking pretty good. And it'll dry a little bit differently, but that's okay. Now, I want to get a different color. Let's say I want to do my A yellow. I better make sure that I rinse my brush off pretty well before I dip it in the yellow, or else this yellow is not going to look yellow anymore. Okay, so we want to make sure we dip, swirl, and swipe. Make sure we have a nice clean brush, get some paint on that brush, and then carefully paint my A. This is where you have to be careful, because if you get onto the background, it's going to make another color. Do you know what yellow and blue makes? Some of you might know. If you said green, you're correct. And sometimes the colors run together, and that's okay. Okay, so if I want to move on to this letter to get a new color, I'm going to dip, swirl, and swipe. Right? I want to get all that extra water off of my brush. Maybe I do red next. That's a really nice red. As soon as it gets a little streaky where the white is showing through of the paper, that means I need more water or paint. But that's looking pretty good. I can kind of grab some paint from over there, move it around, and we're good to go. If I want a new color, I do the same thing. Dip, swirl, swipe.